Honeybees across America are facing a crisis that threatens their existence.
Research from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln shows our state is among the hardest hit, losing as much as 70% of bee colonies in the past year.
KETV News Watch 7's Pete Cudahy wanted to find out what this all means, why it's happening, and how beekeepers in Nebraska plan to save the bees.
Bees are really important if you like a diverse diet.
Mark Welsh started beekeeping nearly 50 years ago.
This is good stuff here.
He has firsthand experience dealing with the challenges beekeepers face with colony collapse.
Bees are not thriving like they used to.
While colony collapse sounds like every bee is dying, it's more complicated than that. My curiosity led me to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
Colony collapse is not necessarily where the colonies are completely dead, but they have completely depopulated in terms of their workforce and they're no longer functional.
Entomologist Dr. Judy Wu-Smart educates beekeepers across the Midwest. She says there are multiple threats to bee colonies. One of those threats, the Varroa destructor mite.
This is a mite that is an ectoparasitic kind of pest that rides around on the bee, feeds on them, removes and depletes them of their fat bodies.
To give you a better understanding of just how big these mites are, imagine that I'm the size of a bumblebee. This dinner plate is what the size of a mite would be.
They transmit viruses that spread throughout a colony, killing all of the bees.
The real solution to Varroa mites is just selecting hives that take care of them naturally.
A solution that brought me to Mike Roble, the president of the Omaha Beekeepers Club. He's trying to beat the mites.
We decided to suit up and see what work local beekeepers are doing to help preserve the bees.
That what you really need are you need queens that are resistant to the mites to begin with.
Roble calls these quality queen bees.
And now she's marked.
They have genes that are sensitive to mites and can remove them from the hive.
They're able to smell the fact that the mite has just started to reproduce.
But creating quality queens isn't easy.
I can select the male bees and harvest their semen and then instrumentally inseminate the queen to make sure that I'm getting the right genetics in the male side and the female side.
He'll treat the hives with a gas called oxalic acid to kill off remaining mites.
It's enough to kill the mites, but not enough to kill the bees.
While these solutions keep mites in check, Dr. Judy Wu-Smart says it's only one piece of the puzzle. Pesticides are also a threat to the bees.
They can cause erratic changes in their behavior that ultimately cause a colony to decline.
And those erratic changes affect even the most resilient bees.
One of those solutions is breeding for stronger, more resilient bees, right? And he's doing that. But all his efforts are going to be at a loss if we can't control the risk of pesticide exposure and the availability of forage.
Another obstacle, the lack in variety of plants for bees to eat, making it difficult for them to get the nutrients to fight off diseases.
All they have is corn and soybeans, and it's not nutritious enough for them.
While the situation may seem bleak, change can still be made.
I'm very hopeful for the future. I think that there is a public interest, and there's definitely a need.
One small step that anyone can take part in, add diverse plants to your yard.
If everybody, like a lot of my neighbors, had flowering plants in their yard, it would be much easier for the bees.
And by making their voices heard to state leadership that there is a problem.
The first step is to recognize that we have a beekeeping industry that is in need of help, both with diagnostic support of diseases as well as help in terms of the landscape.
There is still time, but saving the bees will take effort from everyone. Reporting from Omaha, I'm Pete Cudahy, KETV News Watch 7.